You have been doing online trade appraisals. We make it very simple. Just tell us about your car, describe your car to us, give us the VIN number, we'll look it up when you can bring it in, verify everything, and we'll just move along. So online appraisals have been common in your group. You have a process that you follow now. Don't be afraid to give online pricing, all right? What they owe on their car doesn't matter at this point, because those are the things. When you start asking what do you owe on it, it's important to know, but be cautious, because when you start asking what they know, they start getting a little apprehensive about stuff. So find out what the car's worth, and then go back at them and say, this is what your car's worth. They say, oh, great. And then say, do you owe anything on it now? Because if you ask the question, do you owe anything on it before you appraise it online, they're apt to get a little apprehensive. That makes sense? I'm trying to make it as smooth as possible, that's all. But if you're having no challenge with it, then that's fine.
I was talking to somebody I've known for a while at another store not too long ago, a couple of months back. You guys do a really good job with that, okay? These guys still don't want to appraise a car without seeing it.
Crazy.
What would that cost you? How many times a month do you sell a car with a trade-in that we haven't seen, but you did a good job getting a description, do that mental walk around with the customer. If it's a near new car, you ask a number of questions, that's fine. If it's a 6-year-old car with 60,000 miles on it, you gotta ask a few more questions, right? Any damage on the front end? How about the passenger side? Driver's side, back end? Any scratches or dings on the roof? Great, you know what? Sounds like a nice car, no matter what. Sounds like a nice car. I'm gonna get back to you with some good news.
It's just like I mentioned to you earlier this afternoon about the active trade appraisal. We don't want to go out there beating the customer up on the trade. We want to go out there, compliment first. It's almost like a sandwich technique. Give them something good, give them something bad, give them something good. Don't go out there something bad and let the salami on the outside of the sandwich. Make sure the salami's inside the sandwich. Tastes better that way. These are some of the questions that I would ask, some of the dialogue that I would open with a customer with regard to active trade walk. I would actually ask them, let's go take a look at your trade. Tell me about your trade. And let them tell you about the trade. Did you purchase it new or used? How long have you owned the current vehicle? How long have you been driving it? What do you like most about it? What do you like least? What would you like to see changed in it? How often did you service it? Did you keep it in the garage? You have both sets of keys, so on and so forth. Do you have pets riding along? Did you purchase a vehicle service contract, guaranteed asset protection, anything we helped you get a refund on? I would just ask those questions, make it casual conversation, hand the appraisal sheet over to Jeff, Billy, or Brian, or Amanda, and then go from there. I want you to go to page 47, and before we talk about the discussion of price, I want to ask you all, I want you to think about this. Because what we want to do is we want to create a culture that allows the dealership to open up pricing and payment structures. What that means is we have to be in a position where we present the numbers to the customer. Because how awkward is it when you ask a customer, Kenny, I'll ask you this question. How awkward is it when you find that a customer only wants to pay $400 a month and you go to Jason and Jason gives you a pencil for $750 a month?
It would be awkward, but I try and prepare them for what to expect.
Okay, that's fair enough. How awkward is that?
It's awkward.
It is, isn't it? We can avoid that awkwardness by avoiding some questions. Think of the outcomes of asking a customer how much do you want to spend. It's a negative outcome. It's never positive. If you ask a customer how much they want to spend, it's never positive.
Because they're going to lie.
Of course you're going to lie.
And they think a little lie is $50 or $100 a month.
That's a huge lie. It does not have a positive outcome. How about this one? Are you trading in a vehicle too early in the process? What does that do? We mentioned it earlier. What does that do? If you ask a customer, are you trading in the vehicle? The vehicle you drove in, are you trading too early in the process? It's going to disrupt everything. It's not positive.
Can we talk to them though about the vehicle they're driving now?
Yes.
Absolutely. Their best frame of reference for anything they're looking at that you show them is that current vehicle. What car do they know better?
There's nothing wrong with asking, and I'll put an emphasis on what Gary just said. There's nothing wrong with asking a question, what are you driving now? What do you like about what you're driving now? What do you like least about driving now? What would you like to see different in what you're driving now? Why are you trading? Or why are you trying to replace what you're driving now? Or why are you looking for a new car? There's nothing wrong with that. It's when you ask, are you trading in a car, and leave it at that, the next thing we're appraising a vehicle. If you ask all these questions, you get all these wonderful answers that are going to help you to sell a car, and then you say to the customer, man, that sounds like a really nice car, we should be trading it in. That's a whole different story. Now you're able, because you set the tone of that conversation, to say to the customer, when he says, what's it worth, you open the Pandora's box, but I think you're in a better position to say to the customer, let's find a car that fits first, and then we'll determine what your car's worth. That's all I'm saying. How long you been shopping? That's a negative. It has no positive, none. Do you want to finance, lease, or pay cash? Okay, that's a little sticky, but we want to create a culture where we present the figures. There are going to be times when you're going to have to ask these questions. There's no question about it, but they have to come way later on in the sales process. So if we can agree on figures, are you ready to go? I think a better way to handle that at some point during the needs assessment, prior to selecting a vehicle, if we are fortunate enough to find a vehicle that fits, are you in a position to proceed? I think is a much better way of getting to that trial close. All right? Because it puts emphasis on the vehicle. All right, now let's go to page 48. I would like you to just cross it out. This is the one thing that we misstepped on. This is not going to be part of our process. What is going to be part of our process is we make it simple. Let's go inside and I'll share all the pricing information with you. So now that we found a vehicle that fits, now that we found a vehicle that you're interested in, now that we find a vehicle that you think you'd like to own, we're going to make this really simple. Let's go inside and I'll share the figures with you. We should know this before we get to this point. Do they want the vehicle? All right, they want it, but they want more information. I never talked about a service walk, okay? Never talked about a service walk. And I'm going to tell you why I never talked about a service walk. Because I think a service walk could be left, and I know some of you might disagree with me because you just handed the customer off to F&I. I think a service walk should be left up to the F&I manager while they're printing paperwork so that the customer feels something's going on and they're being occupied while the paperwork's being completed. That's all I'm saying. And we train the service manager to do what? At the end of our introduction, when we say to the customer, okay, now they got all the information, whether it's in your office or out on the showroom floor, while I'm getting the paperwork ready, yeah, and what does that mean?
So I mean, you can see how many miles they drive, how often they drive.
And also set up a first oil change and see the service department, correct?
See how many people are in the lounge and
Exactly. So it's a facility tour at that point. That's what we train. What's the reason for wanting more of a discount if that comes up? You're going to need to know this. You want to know the answers to that, and I'm going to share with you how to get those answers. What are their hesitations? Look, if you've done everything right, I think what you're faced with is hesitation. It's not a no, I'm not buying. It's a hesitation. And Josh, you've been sitting there all day just looking into this camera, learning all about car sales. Are you ready to sell some cars?
Let's get it.
All right, so what's your hesitation? Seriously. You've been hanging around with me for the last almost year and a half, and you know everything about cars. Why aren't you getting into the car business? What's your hesitation? Why don't you give up that digital world and come into the real world where we can make so much money together? Start selling cars. What's your hesitation? What's preventing you from moving forward in the car sales? Huh? Come on, Josh, tell me. Are you considering another job?
Yeah.
What other job you're considering? Because I can tell you the car sale, there's nothing like it. That's how you close. That's how you hang in there. That's how you sit in there. All right? So what are you hoping to accomplish today, Josh? You've been sitting there all day. What are you trying to do? Huh?
Record this?
You're doing a really good job at it. If we were fortunate enough to find the right job at the right dealership for the right money, are you ready to go?
Yes.
All right, let's do it. I love having fun with this, okay? And that's what it's all about. At the end of the day, you got to have fun. But you got to be able to handle these objections. All right? Ready? There's two types of closes. There's assumptive closes, there's trial closes, yes and no closes, open-ended closes, all types of closes, all right? Assumptive close is a technique where the sales associate assumes that the customer is ready to purchase and encourages them with positive remarks. This approach is effective because it builds confidence and trust, making the customer more likely to proceed with the sale. Why do assumptive closes work? Used too early, assumptive closes can feel pushy. Someone asked me today, how do you not be a pushy sales consultant? And I probably should have said, don't use assumptive closes too early in the process. But when you build rapport with a customer and the interest in the car is clear, they feel natural and reassuring. That's what assumptive closes do. So what's the moral to this story? you gain a rapport, you land the customer on the right car, trial closes the interest in owning that car, and that would give you a scale on how assumptive you can get. And they maintain sales momentum, and they project confidence. That's the best part of it. So, our assumptive close, when we put the paperwork in front of the customer, me and Gary and probably Kenny's and probably John's and some other people in here, our assumptive close was this: how would you like the vehicle titled? And they used to go to, what are you talking about? You know, the name on the title. After all, I'm going to get the car all ready and cleaned up for delivery. You'll have it out of here in about a half hour. You'll be driving home, parking in your driveway. Remember those closes? Huh? That's an assumptive close. But we did it no matter what the temperature was with the customer. They help to streamline the sales process and can particularly be useful when customer has already expressed interest in the vehicle. The most important thing about assumptive closes is you got to make sure the customer has some interest in the vehicle. Assumptive close in F&I. I know you want the product, it's just a matter of not seeing enough value in the options. That's right. And then I close on them. If money were not important to you or that wasn't a concern, which option would you select? That one. Great. Sign right here. When would you like to schedule a delivery? Imagine you pulling this vehicle up into your driveway tonight, showing it off to your friends and family. Should I get the paperwork started so we can make that happen? How would you like the vehicle titled? Should I have the car detailed? Whatever it is. When would you like to take delivery is what? A question. It's not a close. It could be used as a close. But I think assumptive close is going to be more powerful. Should I get the car ready for delivery? Should I have my F&I manager or my financial service manager come on and start completing the paperwork? Should we get this process going? I think those are the questions you should ask.